Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening whenever you're coming to BODHI Yoga Online to join us. Chris is here demonstrating, and we are going to just take a signature flow today, probably 90 minutes or maybe a few minutes more. I invite you to come to your mat, grab whatever you need. We'll use a couple blocks today if you have books or blocks at home. And we will start seated. I am elevated, Chris is not, but I really want to encourage you to find what works in your own body, giving you enough lift in your pelvis to create effortless elongation. Either position of the hands down or up. You can also bring the hands to the lap. Close your eyes, take a few moments, and check in. Relaxing the jaw, the shoulders. Releasing the weight of the pelvis down. Take a very long breath in, sitting as tall as you can through your spine. Open your mouth, sigh out. Again, inhaling, stretching the diaphragm down and out into the side ribs. And letting it go with a big sigh. One more time, inhale. Feeling the diaphragm both drop and widen. Open the mouth. Coming just to a normal breathing pattern, whatever you can do without having a forced energy. So you are taking a little bit more than normal inhale. And trying to get all the exhale out each time. And bring your hands to Anjali Mudra. Thumbs are resting at the base of your sternum bone. Bringing the elbows around to the sides of the ribs, hugging gently your torso. And bring your gaze down towards your heart. Observe your intentions for this practice. Bringing your head back to neutral position, open your eyes and release your hands. So we are going to start today with a little bit of a twist. So open your arms parallel like a giant airplane and stretch in both directions, the two shoulder blades away from the spine. Notice if that pushes your head forward. So it's not about lifting the chin up, but really taking the ears back so they line up with the shoulders. Kind of a mantra you want to stay with. And now on your next inhale, you're going to rotate the palms open towards the ceiling. This is external rotation. And you're going to make a big circle with your shoulder blades all the way out and up towards the ceiling. And imagining that your arms are actually the agent of lifting the bottom of your back ribs, so where the kidneys are, up away from the lumbar. Taking another big breath to get extra height. And on the exhale, turn your navel towards the left knee, bring your right hand down. You can use a block behind you for your left fingertips. That would be one option. Okay, if you are using the block, be on your fingertips, and you're going to bend the elbow to be stacking just above the wrist. So once again, this is going to help you to feel the shoulder blade being moved away from the left side of the spine. And it is that space that you create that gives you the opportunity to go deeper into rotation. Continue as much as you can with rooting and rising, sitting bones down, crown of head up for these last two. And keeping the elbow and the shoulder blade moving towards the back of your mat, look all the way across to the opposite right shoulder if your neck allows. Go as far as you can without forcing. Take another breath in so the chest is wide. And then as you exhale, release the twist. Okay, so if you're on an elevation, you might want to come down. I leave it up to you. And you can walk your hands in front of you onto the floor. Okay, and don't be in a rush to get your forehead all the way down to the ground, but little by little you might feel your body accepting this forward flexion, and you can go deep as far as you want. Just breathe. Rooting the sitting bones down and creating a nice natural breath. Last two. And just exhaling all the breath out. And on the inhale, start to walk your hands back. Observe which legs you habitually cross, and then you're going to change that pattern to be the unusual leg in front. Sitting evenly on your two sitting bones, bring the arms into, one more time, that parallel position. So the arm is going to begin in your mind at the shoulder blade, that innermost medial edge of the shoulder blade. Opening the shoulder blades wide without letting the head come forward gives you that room in your upper back. So this is what will facilitate the turn. Rotate your palms open. Take a really giant inhale as the arms go out, circling all the way up above you. Observe how you can lift the shoulders up. That's okay. Yeah, nothing wrong with lifting the shoulders up. And you can use that to help you feel it's not just the shoulders and arms lifting, it's the entire back and sides of the rib cage. And get as much space and height as you can with your next inhalation. Turn your navel towards the right knee. The left hand comes across, and then the right hand behind. If you're using the block, be on fingertips, so you're not resting on the right hand, but you're lifting out of the right hand and creating an opening between the two shoulder blades so we can get eventually the upper left shoulder blade to push and to hold eventually the right knee from the opposite side. Last two breaths, sitting tall. Now keeping the elbow and shoulder blade reaching back, take your gaze across to the left shoulder. One more breath in. And exhale, release the twist. Once again, if you're on an elevated prop, you can come down and then bring your hands forward to fold. Limit as much as you can the movement of the abdominals forward. So abdominal breathing is great for when you're taking a nap or just resting, reading a book, something like that. But here, when you're practicing yoga, we want to limit the amount the belly distends forward on the inhales. And instead, we create a little blockage in the front, and we want more the side of the ribs to move laterally, and the back of your ribs to actually lift and release the pressure away from the lumbar. So with each breath, you get this little wave of space happening. With your next breath, start to walk your hands in. You can take a moment, lean back and extend your legs forward. Give your legs a little shake, shake. And then when you're ready, you can come up to standing. We'll start in Tadasana position. Okay. So equal weight, sama. So sama is same or equal weight in your feet. And you can always switch feet together and feet apart. Let those be interchangeable so you don't get too familiar with one way of doing things. Spread your toes apart, and this is the base of the mountain. So open up the energy of your feet as wide as you can and feel the feet being pulled down. Allow the weight of your feet to be pulled down. It is the amount of energy, so the units of downward force equal to what you can pull energetically up. Bringing the equal opposite feeling all the way up, eventually to that final vertebra between your ears. And last 2 breaths here. Tadasana, mountain posture. One more breath. And we're just going to start with some Ardha Surya Namaskara, half sun salutations. So externally rotate your arms, and with an inhale, bring your arms up over your head. If you have the space, look up and bring your hands together. Exhale, open the arms. Feel free to bend the knees and bring your hands all the way down to the earth. Take a moment and relax your neck here. With your next inhale, so Chris, show hands on the lower tibia. So this would be a fantastic option. So you can really extend forward without rounding your back. Okay, or you can use blocks, or you can come with your fingertips to the earth if you feel like you don't have any issues with your hamstrings. Okay, take another long breath in, and then dive down into Uttanasana, releasing the crown of the head. Open the arms, pressing down with the feet to come all the way up. Maybe you look up. Release the arms, Tadasana, Samastitihi on the exhale. Again, inhale, both arms reach up. Exhale, open the arms and fold all the breath out. Inhale, lift halfway, maybe the hands floor or tibia. Exhale, release down, Uttanasana. Open the arms as you inhale, come all the way up. Tadasana, exhale, Samastitihi. Last time like this, Ardha Surya Namaskara. Inhale, arms up. All the breath out as you fold, exhale, Uttanasana. Halfway lift, inhale, Ardha. Uttanasana, exhale, descend. Open the arms, rise, inhale. Samastitihi, Tadasana, exhale. Surya Namaskara A. We'll take a lunge for the first one with a little modification. Inhale, Urdhva Hasta, arms up. Exhale, Uttanasana. Half lift, inhale. Now just one leg steps back to a lunge, and give it a good distance between your feet. So this will help also to season the hips a bit. And now see if you can get your hands flat. So challenge yourself to reach the hands towards the mat, but in the opposite direction, lift your wrists and your inner shoulders up. Last 2 breaths. Okay, try not to lift too much up and just sneak your foot back so you come to that push-up position. Inhale here in plank. Downward facing dog as you exhale, move back. So feel free to bend the knees if you need to here. The highest point, the peak, is the pelvis. So we're trying to get the sides of the hips to lift and to move back. And now with your next breath, lift your head. So set your gaze forward. Come into plank position. We'll show the modification. Bring the knees down. Okay, or you can do it with the legs straight. Okay, and lower with control all the way past Chaturanga and release to Cobra. Point the toes. And when you're ready, bring the forehead down to the ground. So again, this would be a modification on the Vinyasa. Press into your knees, come up into a tabletop position. Take your toes into the tucked position. Bring the hips back like child's pose, and then lift up, downward facing dog. So that's a great way to modify the Vinyasa if you should need it. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, walk or jump your feet to your hands. As you inhale, you're creating length. And on the exhale, releasing the head down. Open the arms, circle upwards as you inhale. Tadasana, exhale, Samastitihi. So we're going to lunge with the opposite leg. Inhale, rotate the arms, reach up. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Halfway up, inhale. Okay, so you're going to lunge back with the opposite leg. Take a good, generous lunge position. And this is going to challenge almost all of you to get the hands flat, but without dropping the shoulders. So lifting those upper inner shoulders, creating that nice feeling of height in the chest, getting as much space as you can so you don't actually have to lift your pelvis or chest. You can just step back, coming into plank pose. Stay here for one inhale, lifting the shoulders up. Downward facing dog as you exhale. Again, take a few moments here. Adjust your feet, hands position. Bending the knees is something I think almost all of us really need to do the first few down dogs. So we will be mindful to keep the sacrum releasing away from the lumbar as the head lifts up. So the sequence is the head lifts and that engages the spine so you can come to plank. And it won't just be shoulders, spine engagement as well, postural engagement. Chris is showing with the legs straight. Feel free to bend the knees if you need to. Lower all the way with control. Release when you're ready into cobra. So slightly you're bringing the weight towards the pubis. And then as you exhale, coming all the way down. So as we did before, use the knees if that's working better for you. Chris is going to show to plank, so curling the toes under. He's going to start lifting from the sacrum rather than the shoulders. So for those of you who are strong in your shoulders, not impressive when you lift with the shoulders. Lift with the core body, very good. And downward facing dog, all the way back. Okay, take a few breaths, organize your feet. You can see this nice trajectory of the sacrum away from the lumbar so the sacrum's not falling into the lumbar. Look up. March or jump on the inhale. See if you can create a nice long Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Uttanasana, descend. Open the arms. Giant inhale all the way, side and back ribs up. Samastitihi Tadasana. So we'll take two Surya Namaskara, a traditional. Inhale, arms up. Ekam. Dve, exhale, Uttanasana. Trini, inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Chaturanga, you can march back, Chaturanga, or jump back directly and lower. Pancha, Cobra or Urdhva Mukha, inhale. Shat, exhale, Adho Mukha, Svanasana. Separating the feet a little larger than the hips and breathe. 1. 2, so even as the sacrum lifts, the crown of the head is reaching forward towards the thumbs. 4. 5, Sapta, look up, march or jump, feet to hands, that's all on the inhale. Exhale, Ashtau, head down. Nava, inhale, arms all the way up. Samastitihi, exhale, Tadasana, last time. Ekam, inhale. Dve, exhale, Uttanasana. Trini, inhale, Ardha. Chaturanga, march or float, Chaturanga, Dandasana. Pancha, inhale, Cobra or Urdhva Mukha. Shat, exhale, Adho Mukha, breathing here. 1. 2, exploring the lateral most side ribs as you breathe. 3. 4, stretch it way back as you inhale. Finish the exhale, look up. Inhale, Sapta, jump or march. Ashtau, exhale, Uttanasana. Nava, inhale all the way up. Exhale, Samastitihi, Tadasana. So taking a few moments, perhaps closing the eyes is something you're capable of doing. So we try to break up the movement with just a few moments of stillness. Grounding the inner edges of the feet, the inner heels down. And pulling the line of energy of the inner knees and thighs up to create a nice tall lift in the pelvis. Last 2 breaths here. And releasing your arms down. This time you're going to touch the earth with your fingertips, bending the knees, preparing chair pose. Inhale the arms up, Utkatasana. Exhale, hands down, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha. Exhale, march back or jump, exhaling all the way, Chaturanga. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha or Cobra. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana. So we'll break up the traditional movement here with a lift of the right leg. So that would be on an inhale. As you exhale, bring the knee towards the chest, look up and shift the shoulders above the wrists. Again, three-legged dog. So inhale, just a little moving. Knee to chest, exhale, bringing the hips forward underneath you. Last time, inhale, just 3. Lifting the head, exhale, knee to chest, and this time you're going to bring the foot all the way to your hands. Okay, turn the back foot. So in Warrior One, you can have the foot turned at whatever degree of angle supports the back knee. You can also have the feet wider than heel to heel, okay, so a little more hip distance apart. The objective of Warrior One is to turn the left hip around the leg. So it's not that you're turning the left knee. The knee will stay pointing in line with the left toes. But little by little, as your hips start to warm up, they'll mobilize and your left hip point is going to come around towards the right toes. Now see if you can keep that. Lift your hands to your hips and now come upright with your torso. For a breath, straighten your front leg. You're going to take your hands in front of you and hook your thumbs. Toning the triceps, keeping the elbows straight. You're pulling isometrically the thumbs apart. So this is going to pull the upper inner shoulders apart. See if you can keep that. And just like we did before, from the sides and back ribs, start to lift the arms up. So one of the most important things about Warrior One is that we're breathing back into those back kidney ribs, and you're trying to go up from the kidneys towards the arms. See if you can maintain that feeling of going back and up as you start to bend the front leg. So you're challenging the left quadricep and psoas to open. Okay? Mostly when we start to do that, the front ribs like to collapse forward and you'll get a hole in your lumbar spine. So you want to try your very best to fill the inhales into the sides and back lower ribs and to use that to push the arms a little higher. Last 3. Go up, up, up with your ribs as you sit a little lower. 2. One more breath. If you can turn the hands to face, maybe you look up and press. Exhale, both hands down. Take a moment here and we're going to do a low lunge. So turn onto your back toes, lower your back knee down to the earth. You can point the toes away. And now plant your left hand, right arm up into the twist. So do your best to keep the breathing calm, especially when you get into these more challenging poses like Warrior One. Open up between your inner shoulder blades. Notice if that tends to make your head go forward. It's not about lifting the chin towards the forehead. It's about bringing the ears back in line with your shoulders. Last 2, much better. Last 1. And release. Bringing your right hand down. You're going to step into a quiet plank position. For a breath, go to downward facing dog. That's an exhalation. Good. Rooting the heels back. I really cannot emphasize how important it is to root the heels back as you come forward into plank. You have to imagine your heels are glued against the wall behind you. And then lowering to Chaturanga without the heels coming forward. So yeah, the heels have to stay back and it's the spine only going forward. So it's much more subtle than you think. Now push the toes back behind you, upward facing dog or cobra. Again, the legs are moving back out of the lumbar. And downward facing dog. Okay, so taking the left leg into a 3-legged dog stretch as you inhale. Exhale, knee to chest, lifting the head and bringing shoulders over wrists. Good. Again, inhale, stretch it up. Exhale and knee to chest. Try to keep this rounded. Yeah, there you go. One more time. Inhale, 3rd one. Bring the knee to the chest. The rounding starts at the lumbar, the head lifts, and you come forward, step the foot all the way. Super jump. Organize your back foot, place your feet mindfully. Of course, always it's the four corners pressing evenly. Figure out in your body how to make that happen. So I'm not suggesting that you turn your right knee towards the front of the mat. The leg is a pillar that the right hip learns to turn around. So eventually the right hip point energetically is moving towards your left foot to varying degrees. Okay, bring your hands to the hips when you are ready with that. And see how it feels to come upright with the torso. So here's where the psoas will start to challenge you a bit. Okay, and now you can straighten your front leg for a few moments. And we're going to change the position of crossing the thumbs, so the unusual thumb on top. Two things are happening. The triceps, the outer shoulders firm in, and as you pull isometrically, the inner shoulders, biceps press out. So see if you could do those evenly. The inhale really is beginning at the bottom back ribs. So with each inhale, see if you can feel the back ribs floating up, and this is what propels the arms up into the vertical position. So the more you can breathe back and up, the more the arms will float higher and eventually back by your ears. Okay, take as much time as you need with this and bend the front knee when you're ready. So what you will start to feel is an opposite direction in the back foot challenging you as you bend the front knee. Okay. It's not the back knee leg that's turning forward, it's just the hip. Can you isolate? There you go, last three. Even bringing the right side of your kidney ribs around, 2. Perhaps bringing the hands to touch now, lifting up and looking as your hands press. Exhale, lower your hands down. We're going to take just a little reprieve and a low lunge. So bringing the right knee to the earth, point the toes. Right hand down, left arm up. Creating space between the medial or inner border of your shoulder blades. Okay, you're never really letting the chin go higher than the forehead. The forehead will always stay a little higher than the chin, but you're moving your ears back. So the spine, not the shoulders, is what's doing this twist. Last 3. 2. Release your left hand down. Sneak your back toes under into a plank position when you're ready. And just downward dog. Simple transition back. Root the heels back as you begin to come forward. So the feeling of going forward is in reality actually minimal. The heels have to go back, the sacrum goes back, and it's really just a little space between the vertebra going forward as you lower to Chaturanga. So really the going forward is, it's inside. Upward dog, much better. Point your toes back, legs back, and downward facing dog. Spend a few breaths stretching out. Last 2, sides of the ribs stretching out as you inhale. Now prepare, lifting your gaze. Feel the hips still moving back even more as you bend the knees, march or jump. On an exhale, release Uttanasana. Sitting into chair pose, Utkatasana. And pressing your feet, standing in Tadasana, Samastitihi. Okay, let's take one Surya Namaskara beat with the natural classical tempo. Ekam, inhale, Utkatasana, chair pose. Dve, exhale, Uttanasana. Trini, inhale, head up. Exhale, Chatware, march or float back, Chaturanga. Urdhva Mukha, inhale, Pancha. Exhale, Adho Mukha. Now without lifting the leg, Sapta, step the right foot forward. The left heel angles down on the mat. Inhale all the way up. This is still Sapta. Ashtau, exhale, hands down as you lower, Chaturanga or modify. Nava, inhale, Urdhva Mukha or Cobra. Dasha, exhale, Adho Mukha. Ekadasha, the left foot steps, the right heel turns. You're coming all the way up to the peak of the pose. Exhale, Dwadasha, the hands to the earth, Chaturanga, Dandasana. Trayodasha, inhale, Cobra or Urdhva Mukha. And Shigtogdasha, exhale, Adho Mukha, Svanasana. Breathing here, 1. Imagine even the energetic body getting bigger. 2, not just the physical part. 3, 4, 5, prepare the gaze. Inhale, Saptadesha, Panchadesha, jump forward. Exhale, Shodasha, relax your head. Bend the knees. Inhale, Saptadesha, chair pose. And Samastitihi Tadasana, exhale. Very good. Okay, we're going to take a little hybrid on Surya Namaskara B. So what you're going to do is you're going to lift your heels off the ground. So you're in a releve like a ballerina. There you go. And now reach your arms all the way up over your head. So you're a very long line of energy. Now keeping the heels as lifted as you can, begin to move the hips back and down into chair pose. Keeping the heels as high as possible. Good. If you have the balance, you could maybe start to lift your gaze and bring your hands together. Last breath in. Keep your heels lifted and bring your hands to the earth into Uttanasana variation. Keep your heels lifted if you can and start to straighten your legs. Good. Now, release your heels down, head up, Ardha Uttanasana, inhale. You can march or jump as you exhale, transition to Chaturanga. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha or Cobra. And exhale, Adho Mukha. Okay. Step the right foot forward. Turn your left heel as you did for Warrior One, and inhale, come all the way up, Warrior One position. Good. Now on the exhale, you're gonna bring both hands down to the inside of your front foot. Okay, and now you're gonna bring your right hand and hold your right outer ankle. There you go, like that. You can take your thumb all the way around. Yeah, there you go. And now, keeping this feeling of the back leg straight. So really this is the challenge for all of us. And mobilizing the left hip around the leg towards the right foot. There you go. Now pull your right hip slightly back towards your left heel. And see if you can keep that orientation while bringing the left hand to match the right hand. Yes. Now there's also another variation some of you at home might want to take, which is to bring the right shoulder around and the hand to the outside of the hip. Yeah, there you go. And you can eventually bind here for 3, keeping the shoulders and hips parallel to the floor. So you're not turning open, such as side angle. 2, very good. And release. Both hands down on the inside, turn onto the back toes. Okay. And now with the back knee up, we're going to do the same twist, reaching the right arm up. Good. Creating lots of space in the shoulders. Now rotate the top arm and reach it overhead. We're going to take an external rotation to counter that last position. And as you take your ears back in line with the shoulders, you might be able to turn the belly, sternum, chest, look under your armpit, last breath in. Exhale, release the hand down. Step into a plank position. Okay, feel your heels going onto the imaginary wall behind you, so your hips don't go into the lower back as you lower all the way down to the ground. Very good job. Okay, take your hands back by your hips for Shalambhasana A, so locust. We're going to start by asking the legs, without bending the knees, to lift up off the ground, so straight legs. Okay, and then you begin, when you're ready, lifting the vertebra between your ears and asking the spine to lift you up. That's it, good. So little by little as the legs stretch back, it's not about height, it's about shooting the legs, ejecting them towards the back wall. 3, crown of the head in the opposite direction to, you can lift the chin a little higher, right there, that's neutral. And now bring the hands like cobra, set the feet down, and you're gonna come all the way into upward facing dog, Urdhva Mukha. Very good. Exhale, Adho Mukha, downward facing. Step the left foot between your hands. Turn the right heel. So organize your feet as you did before. Bring your hands now to the inside of the left foot. Okay, see if you can stabilize the right leg so much that the hip will then be able to mobilize around the leg. Bring your left shoulder a bit behind your left knee. See if you can hold the outside of your ankle. Now, if you feel stable, maybe your right hand can come off the mat and you can hold the front of the ankle as well. Some of you try the bind. If you want to take the left arm behind you, right arm behind you, keeping your hips and shoulders relatively parallel to the earth. And breathing here for 3, 2, and release. Very good. Hands to the floor, back toes, so lift the heel. And now you're going to twist left arm first vertical. Give the shoulders lots of space. Rotate the arm externally, and when you're ready, take a long stretch. So we're moving the body in 2 directions, the heel back and the right side of the spine forward. Last 3. Keep this down a little bit. Yeah, there you go. 2, ears back slightly, turn your chest. And release. Very good. Plank posture for a few moments. Heels reach back. Lower straight down to the earth without letting the legs jam into the lumbar. Much better. Okay, point the toes back. Okay, and now we're going to do a different variation of Shalambhasana. You're going to take the hands, crossed fingers behind your head. We call it the crocodile breathing position. Yeah, good. When you're ready, you can shoot the legs back until the legs are actually hovering. Okay? And then when you're ready, press that vertebra between your ears up into your hands. Yes, and breathe. Elongate magnificently the legs back, and that will start to pull the sacrum back away from the lumbar. There you go. In the opposite direction, the spine is pulling forward away from the sacrum. Last 3, 2, bring your hands into cobra, set your feet down, and with a big inhale, Urdhva Mukha, upward facing, and exhale, Adho Mukha. Okay, so now we're going to take a little child's pose. So lower your knees down, point your toes. And again, it's so important to remember that the flow is in your mind. It has nothing to do flowing one posture to the next. You can be in a beautiful flow in moments of stillness, just as much as movement. This still position gives you an opportunity to observe your breathing, to quiet the mind. Just 2 more breaths, being quiet, supported by the earth. Stretching the arms when you're ready. Stay in child's pose as long as you need to. Okay, join us when you're ready in downward facing dog. And taking a few moments to root the 2 hands evenly into the mat. You're going to bend your knees, lift the gaze, prepare, and inhale, travel, jump, or march. Exhale, Uttanasana. Okay, now Chris, take your hands a little more forward just so you can lift your heels really high. That's it, good. Stay on the inside edges of your feet. So notice if you tend to roll to the little baby toe edge. And now you're going to start to move your hips back and down. Try to balance heels off the ground as you come up into chair pose. Good job. Try to keep your heels up as you straighten. The legs slowly reach up. Now keep the legs lifted and release the heels down and arms down. Tadasana position. Very good. Okay, now you're gonna, and when you do this transition, you're gonna bend your knees like this, and you're gonna skim the mat, and you're gonna open up your feet towards the right 70 centimeters. So bring your fingertips together in front of your chest, like this. Yeah, elbows high. And you're just gonna turn and jump your feet, skimming the ground. Very good. Open your arms parallel. Good job. Okay, now the feet are parallel, lining always up with the heels, never with the toes. Okay, and now you're gonna bring your hands onto your hips. That's it. So the elbows, ideally, are gonna face pointing the direction behind you and parallel. Okay, so as you inhale, lift the sides of your body, the sides of your lumbar up, away from your hips where your hands are holding. And on your exhale, you're gonna come forward halfway to the earth. So you're gonna pause. Now, everybody, feel free to bend the knees if you need to. Chris and I are gonna use a block. You can also use a block just underneath your face. And you're gonna set the left fingertips on the block. And then you're gonna bring your shoulders above the wrist, above that left wrist. Okay? You're gonna start to turn and stack the right shoulder above. When you're ready, let that right arm go free towards the ceiling. And you can start to feel the two directions of movement, the sacrum, hips back, crown of the head elongating forward, and in the middle of all of this extension, you can turn and rotate the upper back. Last 3, very good. 2, 1, look down, right fingertips replace left. Bring the weight a little bit more forward onto the front of the heels, and when you're ready, you can turn the shoulders and stack. Free the left arm when you feel ready. And just feel there are 2 directions that we move in. The sacrum goes one direction, crown of the head opposite of that. If we create space, the rotation will be much more elegant and fluid as we breathe for 3. And the right shoulder blade is just pushing the arm down. You're rebounding the left chest up. 2. And look down and release. So now you can take your fingertips on either side of the block. Okay. And then maybe some of you need to bend the knees, so I give you that option always. Try to bring the hands flat and see if that's possible. Now you're going to move the block back for those of you who are using it, and we'll use it for underneath the head. Okay, and on an exhalation, you're going to fold and bring your head either to the floor or to the block. Okay, and then you can walk your hands back a little bit. Yeah, like this, and put the crown of the head on top. Yeah, just like a headstand. Good job. And the hands are going to mimic the shape of Chaturanga. So the elbow above the wrists. The 2 shoulder blades are essentially pushing the elbows away from the spine. And the scary part is, now if you're at home, it's not as scary to fall. Maybe you have a couch behind you or something, but for Chris it'll be a little more scary. To start to move the hips forward and up above the shoulders. So it will start to become more and more of this feeling of the spine stacking above the crown of the head. So eventually, someday, the feet become less and less of a necessary entity, and eventually they can come up off the ground. Last 3. Good. 2. And 1. Walking the hands forward, you're just going to lift halfway, Ardha, elongating. And as you exhale, hands to your hips and come all the way up into the vertical position. Good. We're going to take the arms out to the sides, parallel. And now what we're going to do is internal rotation. So the thumbs are going to rotate down and back behind your back. And you can make a fist for Paschimottanasana, or you can make the prayer behind your heart. Take an inhale, again, lift the sides of the waist up. And then as you exhale, fold all the way down. And again, we can use a block or not underneath the crown of the head. Good. And the idea is, as the head can press into something, and some of you will be able to get your head to the floor, you won't need a block, but you'll feel the inner shoulders rebound the opposite direction of the head pushing down. The more the inner shoulders can lift up away from your ears, it will help you to differentiate the difference between shoulders and spine movement. Last two. And now pressing through the four corners of the feet. Bend the knees if you need to. Inhale, come all the way up. Single inhalation. At the top, just exhale completely. Last time. Inhale, open your arms parallel. And now you're going to take C position, hands crossed behind your back. Oh, just like this. Yeah, there you go. Okay, bring your feet a little closer together, maybe 4 centimeters. Yeah, there we go. We're going to take pyramid. So you're going to turn your hips towards the back of the mat, turning your right leg 90 degrees. And you can bring your back toes out and up a few centimeters. Yeah, wider with the feet is always acceptable. Okay. The weight on the 2 feet is even. So see if you can feel here the back foot equal to the front foot pushing down. Lift the sides of the body up. And as if you're going up and over something on the exhale, see if you can take your belly up and over as if somebody was holding an imaginary bolster at the front of your leg. There you go. Good. So this ginormous movement of the spine, lengthening forward and eventually down for 3. And you can lift the arms up a little bit, shoulders to the ceiling, arms overhead. 2. Inhale, lift with that vertebra between your ears, come all the way up. Turn your feet so they're parallel. 1 breath, inhale, open your arms, stretch. And now you're going to change the cross so your unusual finger crosses. Okay, and now turn your left foot to face the front of the mat. Bring your right foot, a little bit out to the right. Again, the weight is even in the 2 feet. You inhale, lift the spine. And then as you exhale, keeping that lift, go forward. And after you go forward a good amount, then you come down little by little, abdomen to thigh. The shoulders can go towards the ceiling, and then the arms overhead when you feel ready for that stretch. Yeah, good. Last 3 breaths here. 2. Come all the way up, and you're just going to simply step with your right foot to the front of the mat. Release your arms down at your side. Samastitihi. Good. Take your arms out one more time into that airplane shape. And you're going to do external rotation. So rotate your palms open towards the ceiling. Cross your left elbow above your right elbow. Okay, and you can do with just the hands pressing together, or you can cross and bring your palms together. Bend the knees as if you were sitting into a chair pose. And now you're going to lift your right foot, cross the right knee on top of the left knee, Garudasana. And again, just this is enough. Some of you will be able to take the right toes around behind the left calf muscle. Each exhale, put your mind in the sacrum and slide your pelvis down as if it was sliding down an imaginary wall. Lift your elbows up as if you were sliding up a wall in front of you. Last 3, so going in 2 directions always. 2. And release, coming upright, releasing your feet, releasing your arms. You can take your arms overhead and stretch out that shoulder position. And then exhale, release your arms down. Okay, so we get the second side. Take the arms out to the side, turn your palms open. And this time it's the right arm over the left. Bend the knees, so you're sitting into like a little mini chair, the left knee over right when you're ready. Bring your awareness to the sacrum, slide the sacrum down away from the lumbar, equal units of energy, the elbows press forward and up. Giving that, upper part of your back some work. Last 2. And begin to slowly deconstruct, bringing your feet down, reaching the arms all the way up. This time, go for a little extra stretch. Uttanasana, forward fold on the exhalation. Inhale, lift up halfway. And when you're ready, exhale. Any transition, you can go directly to down dog or jump back, Chaturanga. Cobra or upward facing dog. Inhale. And exhale, downward facing dog. Okay, with your next breath, lift the right leg. 1 inhale. Exhale, step the right foot. Okay, and you're gonna make the back foot like warrior 1. So again, some of us need more distance than heel to heel. Please take care of your body. Same thing, bring your hands to your hips, come upright with your torso and straighten your front leg. Now, lift your left arm into the vertical position. Put a good amount of resistance in that back leg and see if you can, without changing the leg, move the hip around the leg towards the front foot. So you're really getting this left hip to turn around. There you go. Now, take a big inhale as you start to bend your right knee to 90 degrees. And on the exhale, bring your left elbow across into the twist. So today you can do prayer position, namaskar with your hands. As you work deeper into it, bring the left shoulder to the outside of your left knee. And you can bring your left hand to the outside of your foot, pressing into the mat. Take your time with all of these. The specific thing you want to be focusing on is the heel of the left foot anchoring back and the crown of the head moving in the opposite direction. All of that space is what you will rotate with. Last 2, good job. Now keep this back foot anchored in the ground and come back, warrior 1. Single inhale, arms up, maybe you touch. Exhale, hands down. Okay, and now what you're gonna do is you're gonna bump the back foot up a little bit closer. Good, inhale, elongate your torso, straighten your front leg. And as you exhale, fold for a couple of breaths. So just a little hamstring stretch. One thing you can do here is elevate up on blocks. So let's show that. And you can work on getting the lower part of your spine to extend forward. So often it's really just the upper back that drops down. And we forget about how important it is to lengthen here in the lumbar. Last 2. And last 1. Good. Inhale, lift your head up. Step to the front of the mat with both feet so you're elongated. And exhale, release all the way down. Yeah, you can set the blocks off to the side. Come into chair pose, Utkatasana. Bring your hands to your heart in a prayer. Drop the hips a little deeper. Some of you can drop your hips all the way down onto a block. Yes, and bring your left elbow or shoulder to the outside of your right knee thigh. So it would be the beginning of a Pashasana if you can do a squat here with or without the block. And maybe over time you're getting the left shoulder all the way to the outside of the knee. Last 2. Good, ears slightly back. Last breath in. And look towards the earth. Rotate your hands down onto the ground and lift your hips all the way up into Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, prepare. Jump or march back, Chaturanga or down dog directly. Cobra or Urdhva Mukha. Inhale if you're transitioning, downward facing dog as you exhale. Inhale, 1 breath, left leg goes up for a little stretch. Exhale, step between your hands. The back foot will turn at an angle. Feel free to make more space if you need to. Hands to the hips, very simple. Come up, and when you're ready, you're going to straighten out the left leg. Create maximum awareness to what the right leg is doing. Okay, bring the right arm into the vertical position. So on an inhale, as you stretch up, you're going to start to bend the left knee. And as you exhale, the right elbow to left knee or shoulder. So parivrita, rotating, Parshva Konasana, side angle pose. Not an easy posture. Hands in prayer is a really acceptable variation, or taking the shoulder to the outside of the knee, bringing the right hand outside the foot, and taking, if you have another variation with the left arm, any variation with the left arm. Okay. Breathing as much as you can. So the hips go one direction, the spine in the opposite as you turn. Last two, good job. Rotate your gaze down, bring the hands beside your front foot, and you're gonna bump up the back foot a couple centimeters. Now, it takes a lot of warming up for some of us to be able to do this without the blocks, so don't beat yourself up if you've been doing yoga for 22 years and you still need some assistance with the blocks. This stuff can be hard. The hips stay as they are. And what elongates is the spine. So we have to find a way to compartmentalize those two very close neighbors in our body. And when we come down, Chris, just show what it is to round and just bring the, so just to round the back here is so boring. So try to keep your head lifted and try to move from the lower part of the back, abdomen towards the thigh first before you round the back in between the shoulder blades. Last breath here. Oh, you're going to get a much better hamstring stretch there. Now lift your gaze up and bring your right foot to join the left foot. Okay, so chair pose, Utkatasana. And now you can come all the way down into a squat or use a block to supplement. Yes, bring your hands to your heart center and twist. The right shoulder eventually outside the knee. So there is a sacred geometry. When the shoulder touches the knee or the armpit touches the knee, it means the spine is fully elongated. If you're stuck at the elbow, just don't forcefully twist your body. Once the shoulder hits the outer knee, you can then turn from the spine, moving the ears back, and then eventually in a sequence moving all the way towards the lower thoracic. Last two. And last one. Take your fingertips to the earth, unwind the twist, lift your hips up, Uttanasana, forward fold position. Good. Inhale, Ardha, halfway lift. Transition, down dog or Chaturanga as you exhale. Wherever you are, take a nice full inhalation. Maybe that's an up dog. Exhaling, Adho Mukha, downward facing dog. Okay, take a few moments. Twisting gives a lot of heat to the upper back, the spine. Okay, Chris, you're going to come to just a brief child's pose. Everybody come down. And when you do this child's pose, it will be a little differently done. You're going to take the toes and you're going to tuck them under in this child's pose. Yeah, so you might feel a little provocation in the soles of your feet and your toes here. Okay, and now Chris is going to come and sit on his heels. Again, if you're at home and this hurts too much, just point your toes. But if you can, keep the toes tucked. Now, Chris, you're going to take your arms out in front. Okay. Feel the shoulder blades pushing the arms slightly away from the spine. There you go. And now rotate your whole arm until the palms are facing open to the ceiling. So this is external rotation. Ideally, we would keep this as you bend the elbows, bringing your forearms perpendicular. Okay, and now he's going to bring his elbows down to the mat in line with his shoulders. So by looking at his outer shoulders, he's going to place his inner elbow bones so it's in line. A little bit wider. There you go. So we will keep the external rotation at the arm, and just from the wrist, you're going to flip the palms over onto the ground. So we have a radial bone that allows us to turn the wrist over. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to eat. We need that little flip of the wrist. Good. And then once you get that, you want to try to keep the wrists out as wide as the elbows. So yeah, there you go. And you can see there's not too much rounding in the upper back, which is great. He's simply going to lift the knees off the ground and bring the hips slowly up. You can keep the knees bent. And just placing your attention on the inner part of the shoulders and letting the shoulders resist back away from the hands so we don't fall forward into the hands. There you go. Little bend in the knees is really, usually a very good idea. The inner elbow presses straight down. The inner shoulder lifts up from that. There you go. Last 3. Dolphin pose. 2. And now lift your gaze way up. See if you can get those inner wrists down and walk the feet back. Forearm plank. Variation on plank. The heels are going into an imaginary wall, bringing the sacrum towards it, and the spine, each vertebra, a little space, last 2, and lower your hips all the way down to the ground. Very good job. Okay, point your toes back. Take your arms like super person out in front of you. All the way out. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Now, Chris, lift your right leg and stretch it back as far as you can. Good. And stretch your left hand. Walk your left hand forward. No, you can keep it on the ground. Just walk it forward. Good. And then set those 2 diagonal entities down. And now do with your left leg. So you're going to feel longer. Good. And walk that right hand forward. Good job. And stretch on that cross diagonal as much as you can. And set it down. Okay. Now both feet at the same time as you're crawling your arms forward. Yeah, so you're stretching your feet back, crawling your arms forward, and now begin to lift that vertebra between your ears up. And when you're ready, lift your hands a few centimeters off the ground. Still going forward, yes, as the arms lift up. Last 3, the sacrum, legs go back, the arms, shoulders go forward. 2, you're pulling yourself in 2 directions. Bring your hands back like cobra. See if you can lift your chest maybe a little smidge higher. And then as you exhale, release all the way down. Good job. Okay. Now, you're going to bend your knees. Reach back for the feet. So try not to hold the ankles. Try actually to bring your hands to the feet. There you go. That's it. And what's interesting about this position is it's the foot that holds the hand. So the hand is soft, just like the kind of hand you would use with a little baby kitten. And then your toes open and they turn and they hold the foot from the top. You feel the difference in your legs? The legs become bright and shiny. The energy of your feet are bright and shiny. The hips are the foundation. So press your hips down and use the downward force of your hips to lift your legs up. Once the legs have that bit of buoyancy, lift the vertebra between your ears. Again, the shoulders are just going to lie there almost as an accessory, and it's the spine that's pulling the head up and back towards your feet. Last 3 breaths. Good job. Moving the weight towards the pubic bone as the legs go higher. 2. That's it. Get very long as you lower yourself all the way down. You can release your legs back. Good. Bring your hands by your chest. Okay, and you're going to come into child's pose just to take a moment, feeling what you've done in your body. And when you're ready, you're going to look forward. Prepare yourself for downward facing dog. Now, you can choose to either step or jump through to sit. So looking up, Either march your feet forward neatly between your hands or jump through and try to take a seat. Very good. Okay, now we're going to, let's show two different ways to practice this pose. So the first one, Uttanasana modification, we call it reverse tabletop as well. You're going to separate your feet a little larger than the hips and the knees will be bent. Okay, and then you can take the hands behind you. So having the fingers point forward for some people's bodies, especially if you have a carrying angle, can be a bit severe. So you can always try turning your hands out. And even my teacher, Donna Holloman, she allowed us to turn the fingers all the way back, which I thought was such a neat and fun variation to take every once in a while. So you choose your body, your practice. When you're ready, you're gonna lift the sacrum up towards the backs of the knees, press into your hands with your arms straight. And you're gonna make the hips the highest piece of the posture. So go down with your feet as much as you can. Now, one variation that I really like here is lifting the heels up, so you're like a ballerina. And now use your toes and push your hips higher. And now keep your hips that high and just the heels down. Use the whole foot, push the hips higher, last two. And release the hips all the way down. So this is a modification of Uttanasana. Okay, so the full pose, a little bit more challenging, okay? So we're gonna bring the feet all the way together. Now for the second one, you can choose to repeat the bent knee variation, okay? The hands are gonna come behind you. Same thing, please take care of your wrists. There is no dogma that will save you from wrist surgery if you force your wrists in one direction, okay? Pay attention to your body. Press the inner edges of the feet, the inner heels, big toes. And when you're ready, again, move the sacrum towards the back of the knees and up. Straighten the legs as much as you can. You can walk your hands further back, Chris. Yeah, play with the distance if you're not used to this. That's it. And again, the hips are the highest piece of the pose. Last three. Big breaths into your kidneys. Two. And release the hips all the way down. Good job. Okay, bend your knees, scoot forward with your hips and lie down on your back. Bridge pose. One of the better things you can do on certain days is supported bridge pose. So taking the block underneath your sacrum and then just making sure it's cozy in the center of your sacrum and not off to one side. Really what we hope to be able to do here in this bridge position is to feel the front of the hip, the front groins opening. So especially where the iliacus and the psoas comes together, it can cause our pelvis to be in a permanently forward rotated state. What bridge pose is going to help you to feel is that the ilia is releasing away from the lumbar. So the ASIS is coming towards your bottom front rib cage. And your bottom front rib cage is also going towards your hip bones. So you have this feeling of magnetism between the frontal pelvis and the bottom front ribs. This is what will keep your back safe while giving you the necessary opening in your hip. Okay, so you are very welcome to spend all of the back bends here. We will come off and show more active variations. Okay. So you can bring the feet a little wider than your hips. That is acceptable. Ideally, the feet would be parallel the whole time. Do your very best. Okay, when you're ready, you're going to place your hands flat on the floor and press your hips. Again, the sacrum is moving in the direction towards the knees and then up. Okay, and now you're going to take your hands, cross the fingers, and very neatly just tuck the outer arms underneath. So the concept of what you're trying to introduce into your body here is not that you're lifting the ribs and chest towards your forehead. In fact, the bottom ribs are going to stay magnetized towards the frontal hip bones and the frontal hip bones towards the ribs. But at the same time, lifting the pelvis to be the highest point of the asana. Good, last two. Release the hands and come all the way down. Okay, now we're going to do one more bridge pose, but with the arms overhead. So when you're ready, take your arms like a handstand. You can also do this with your hips on the block if you're doing the variation. Sacrum moves away from the lumbar towards the back of the knees and up. Great. As most of us have some tightness in the shoulders, when the arms are overhead, the likelihood of the front ribs disconnecting from that hip bone is much more. So you see that Urdhva Dhanurasana has another complication that bridge pose doesn't show us. So this is a great way to experiment with what your ribs are doing. Very good job. Last two. Give the arms more emphasis stretching back, like you're holding somebody's ankles and they're pulling you back as you come down. So you're really moving again in two directions. This is the premise of yoga, hatha. When you're ready, bend your elbows, place your hands by your ears. Okay, and again, the sacrum is going to release away from the lumbar towards the back of the knees. As the hips go to their highest point, what I'm going to ask Chris to do is to lift his heels up and to push his pelvis even higher. And you can walk your feet a little closer now. There you go. And lift your hips a little higher. And now keep the hips that high and come up to the crown of the head. There you go. Organize the hands. Some of you might just choose to stay on the crown of the head. Lifting the hips to the highest point they can and then coming up, if it's appropriate, into Urdhva Dhanurasana. So again, the frontal part of your hip bones, bottom part of your rib cage, magnetizing together, creating lots of space for the lumbar. Last two. Bring your head all the way up, the chin towards the chest. Land on your shoulders and release for a couple moments. You are very welcome to stay on the block. We're going to do one more Urdhva Dhanurasana. Take your arms back if you're in bridge pose, or if you're preparing for Urdhva Dhanurasana, bend the elbows, place your hands. Releasing the sacrum away and eventually off the ground. Okay, yeah. Push your hips as high as you can. Come up to the crown of the head. Keep your hips the highest point you can as you set the heels down, and then lift yourself when you're ready. Yes, good. That's it. So you feel the two inner shoulders open, the spine engaged. Last two. Bring the chin all the way towards your chest and opening the shoulders as you come down. Good job. Okay, after all of these different various back bends, we then need to do a little something to counter pose. So you're going to hug your knees to your chest. Okay. And now take your feet and legs into a vertical position. Bring your hands behind your head in the crocodile breathing position. Okay, take a big breath in. Lifting the shoulders as you exhale, lower your right leg and twist your right elbow towards your left knee. Okay, inhale to the center, the legs go up. Exhale, lowering the left leg, twist to the right. Good. Inhale, center. Exhale, right leg down. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist left leg down. Inhale, center. Exhale, towards the left. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist to the right. Last round. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist to the left. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist to the right. Inhale, center. Both arms, if you can, up, or continue supporting the head. See how high you can lift your hands towards your feet for 3, 2, hug your knees in. Good job. Okay. You're going to kind of roll a little bit on your back, rock around. Okay. Now, take your legs overhead into halasana position with your arms reaching over towards your feet. And if you can, you're going to hold your big toes. Very good. Now, on an inhale, you're going to try to balance on your sitting bones. Good job. That's it. Eventually straightening the legs as much as you can for 3. Very good. 2. Head back a little more. There you go. And release your feet down. Good work. Okay, so you can scoot back a little on the mat. So now you can take your legs straight to begin with. Dandasana, the seated version of Tadasana, the staff posture. Place your hands by your hips, just like this, a little bit in front, right there. Okay, the elbows gently hug in, there you go. And it is a feeling not of the sacrum lifting into the lower back, but of the sacrum releasing down. And the lumbar, starting at number 5, slowly beginning to push up. Okay, and now you're going to bring the chin forward and the chin parallel to the sternum, looking towards the navel center now. And breathe, but keep the chin moving. Yeah, so there's always a space here. And now you can bring the chin down towards your chest a little more. Yeah, that's it. Last 3, 2, 1. Bring the chin back to a neutral position. Very good. Okay. Now, you're going to bend your right knee and bring your knee towards your chest. Bring the foot in line with your hip points. Good. Okay, bring your left hand back behind you and lift your right arm into a vertical position. We're practicing Marichasana A. So take a big breath in, and now you're going to bring your right shoulder to the inside of your right leg, and you're going to try to hold your left foot. And keeping the right knee as upright as you can, use the left hand on the ground to help encourage the forward movement. Yeah, last 3. And ideally, eventually, the elbow on the right arm will bend and you can touch the ground with your right elbow. 2. Good job. And 1. Inhale, come back up. And now we're going to switch hands. So you're going to bring your left hand up to the ceiling. Right arm, we're going to use this block. So Marichasana C position, going for the twist now. And as you exhale, see how much height you can get as you turn the left side body around. Good. Flex foot, that's it. So you're creating a feeling of widening your inner shoulder blades. Yes, while lifting the spine up. Last 3. Great job. 2. And inhale, bring the gaze towards the left shoulder. Open the right elbow a little wider. And release. Very good. Okay, we will switch sides, starting with Marichasana A. You can bend your left knee, bringing the heel in line with the sitting bone. The right hand behind you, this is going to give you just stability and a little bit of leverage. The left arm vertical for space. Take an inhale. And now go inside the left leg so the shoulder brushes the inner thigh. And if you can, you hold the right foot. Okay, now using the right fingertips to encourage the lower part of your spine forward, the abdomen towards the right thigh. And the bending of the left elbow eventually produces the elbow touching the earth. So that's how you know. You don't wrap the pose until the elbow touches the earth. Otherwise, the shoulder's just not ready. Last 3. 2. And 1. Lifting the spine all the way up. And now we're going to switch. So bringing the right arm up and the left hand back. Okay, so what we will get first is height and elongation in the right side of the body. And then twisting the right shoulder to the outside of the knee thigh. Good. That's it. Good. So we're moving the spine in and then around as we breathe. 3. Good job. That's it. 2. And 1. Look forward towards the right shoulder. Take a big inhale. Super job. Exhale, release. Not so easy. Take both legs out in front, flexed feet. We're going to do Paschimottanasana. So on an inhale, take your arms above your head. Just like in Warrior One, you're lifting the bottom back ribs up, and then you start to go forward, holding either belt or feet. As you inhale, maybe you try to lift the spine a little bit higher, and as you exhale, you begin with the lumbar. So this is where you have to come forward from first. Gradually, eventually, you lower the head so the crown of the head points towards the big toes. Okay, it's simply not taking your forehead to your shins. That will be much too boring for almost all of you. Last 3. Yeah, stretch the sides of the body long. 2. And 1. Inhale, start by lifting your head up. Good job. And then exhale, lie down on your back. Okay, take happy baby pose for a few moments. This is just a feel-good way to see if your body needs anything else. And we're going to take both hands to the right foot, so you're going to do half happy baby, and you can take the left leg down for a couple breaths. Just notice how much easier it is to do one leg. And now change, hold the left foot, stretch the right leg out. Back to happy baby pose. Okay, now try to bring your feet together, and you can use your fingers around the baby toe edges to kind of fasten the feet together. Yeah. And little by little, as the knees move away from your shoulders, maybe you can start to encourage the heels to come up towards your navel. Notice how the knees really would want to do that much faster than the feet. Take your time, no rush. Good. And then release, hug your knees in, give yourself a little gentle rock from side to side. So when we do a class that focuses so much on twisting and extending the spine, you know, your back is working in these postures. It's nice to put a little cushion under your legs when you do Shavasana. So I recommend either 2 blocks and a bolster or just a cushion from your couch under the back of the knees. So go ahead and put your legs out there, see how that feels. A nice, natural, relaxed feeling, the feet turning open. And then a little bit, what sometimes can be really useful is pressing your legs, your heels down, and kind of lifting your hips up and scooching the flesh of the buttocks away from the lumbar, just to give you a little traction in your lumbar spine. Okay, and then if you want, you can take a special position with your arms, hands, just whatever relaxes your shoulders. And take one more very conscious inhale through your nose. Open up your mouth, exhale all the way. Shavasana. Bring your awareness back to your body with a nice long inhale. Just feeling the effects of Shavasana, of the practice. Start to wiggle out. And you can bring your feet, if you're using that cushion, on top of the cushion, or simply bend your knees. And take a moment, stretch your arms in any or all directions. Coming back into this physical place. Hug your knees to your chest, and you can roll over one side or the other. And coming into any comfortable position you choose when you're ready to sit up. Bringing your hands to Anjali Mudra, this gesture of giving your time and giving your attention to your health, your wellness. This practice of self-loving, self-nurturing. Lift your head, open your eyes. Namaste. Thank you so much.